NFL Daily coming up in just a matter of moments. Before we do, you may be sitting here watching this mailbag and saying to yourself, man, I want to be a part of mailbag. I got questions that I want answered. Well, you too can be a part of a mailbag here on the channel by subscribing and joining us for our live shows here on the channel. When you subscribe, turn on notifications, you will know when we go live here on the channel, and so you can get your questions in. You can hashtag NFL or Super Chat, and you too can have your questions answered. Subscribe now for free, and we'll get started with today's show. Welcome to NFL Daily by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us as we answer your questions. These come from our live show, and we're going to be talking a lot of free agency today in particular. We'll start off with this question from Nicholas. Who are some post-June 1 cut candidates on the edge the Bears could grab? I don't think you even have to wait till June 1. I think you have to look at right now of guys that are sitting out there. And, we've mentioned them several times when it comes to this Bears team. The Yannick Ngakwe's, the Frank Clarks, the Melvin Ingrams of the world. Those guys are sitting out there available, just waiting for their names to be called. If you're the Bears, I know there's been some talk about some of the Chase Young types and others here, but, I think, Nicholas, your best bet is to just go ahead and spend money and not have to give up assets. You don't have to wait till June 1. I would go ahead and pursue that right now. Melissa says, do you see the Buccaneers getting Ezekiel Elliott? Potentially speaking, I think they very well could. Now, as I've stated before, and I will reiterate, Melissa, is that Ezekiel Elliott, wherever he goes, his role needs to be as your number 2 running back, to be used in short yardage and thereabouts. And so if you're Tampa Bay, whoever it is, you don't bring in Zeke to be your workhorse. You bring him to be that number 2 guy. Tampa Bay is a possibility. I think Miami, I think the Chargers, maybe even going back to the Cowboys. There's going to be a lot of teams that should be interested in Ezekiel Elliott. New England's another one as well, as far as that goes. But, yeah, Zeke, we'll see where he ultimately ends up, but I do think the Bucs certainly could be possible. Not Jerry says, where will Leonard Floyd sign? Leonard Floyd, I think, is fantastic. One of the better outside linebackers, got off to a slow start to his career there in Chicago, then really just kicked it in gear when he got to the Los Angeles Rams. He and Bobby Wagner were a good combination this past year. Leonard Floyd had 9 sacks in 2023. Leonard Floyd is a fantastic player. I really like Leonard Floyd a lot. As far as where he could end up, teams that need those outside linebackers that are looking for pass rusher help of some sorts, I look at one team in particular when it comes to Leonard Floyd of where he could possibly end up. We've talked about Dalvin Cook going to Miami. What about Leonard Floyd in Miami? That's a team that piques my interest as far as that goes. Miami being a possibility. I'm also looking at potentially maybe a team that comes to mind is Philadelphia. Philadelphia keeps continuing to stack up and add. Leonard Floyd. I saw Seattle's name come up, and Seattle's already pretty good at outside linebackers. That one didn't make a whole lot of sense, but Leonard Floyd will have plenty of opportunities wherever he goes. But thanks for the question, not Jerry Jones. Who will sign Leonard Floyd in NFL free agency? Give me a team that comes to mind. Where is Leonard Floyd going to end up when it's all said and done? This is our pen comment today. You might get an ad break, if so take advantage of it. Get your votes in. Tell me what you think. Where will Leonard Floyd sign? Let me know. Jordan writes, do you feel like the Jaguars can make it to the playoffs again and make history? If the Jaguars cannot get Dalvin Cook, is there a chance that they can get Davante Adams? We've had a good offseason. The Jags very well should be the favorites in their division, kind of by default, because the AFC South is hot garbage, okay? The Colts might be the worst team in the league. The Texans are rebuilding, okay? And then Tennessee, I mean, whether they admit it or not, they should be rebuilding anyway. So that leaves the Jags by default. Well, we got Trevor Lawrence and company. I mean, they should win the division. They could win the division probably with 9 wins, realistically. I say that all to say, though, I like what Doug Peterson's doing. I like Trevor Lawrence. Some of their key contributors on that team. That defense was really solid as well. Yes, Jags should win the division. Dalvin Cook could be your number 2 back there behind Travis Etienne. That could be a good 1-2 punch. As far as getting Davante Adams goes, don't think that happens because of what you did to bring in Calvin Ridley already. And you already have a decent receiving core as is with Christian Kirk and Zay and some of those other guys there. I think Jacksonville's going to be a force to be reckoned with. They'll make some noise in 2023. GDLT. Davante to the Lions with Goff, Gibbs, La Porta, and St. Brown. Wouldn't that be hilarious? I don't know if Davante Adams is going to Detroit, but it would be hysterical if he ended up back in that division and joined that Lions team. And with Williams, of course, dealing with that 6-game suspension to open up the season, watch out. Detroit, I think they could be aggressive and make a potential move of some sorts to find a playmaker. Maybe not Davante Adams, but maybe make a playmaker of some sorts to keep them in contention and still get off to a good start to the season. Kyle says, what do you think of Harrison Hand, cornerback from Chicago? I think New Orleans could use another corner. Harrison Hand, solid football player. New Orleans, they certainly need some help on that defense there. Anything really helps as far as that goes. I don't know necessarily what the trade value would be of what his necessarily worth is, but it's worth looking into as far as New Orleans goes. Rookie jerseys on sale now. The NFL draft concluded about a month ago, but now's your chance to get the rookie jerseys of some of your favorite future players of your teams. Well, I say future. They're already there. The Devin Witherspoons, the Bijan Robinson, C.J. Strouds, Bryce Youngs of the world, Christian Gonzalez, and others. We have their jerseys on sale now. Look, these guys you're hoping for to play for a really long time for these teams. So now's a great time to get these jerseys. That way you can get the most out of these players in their uniforms, as far as I'm concerned. You can get yours now, chatsports.com/NFL jersey. And I got to tell you, like that Stroud jersey, like that looks awesome. Get these now, and then you can wear them in time for preseason, the season, have them around, and wear these for a long time because these are going to be your future faces of your franchise if you're a fan of one of these teams. Get yours today, chatsports.com/NFL jersey. Mario says, do you think the Raiders trade Hunter Renfrow? Mario, I do think there's a decent chance the Raiders trade Hunter Renfrow. As we've seen the Raiders go through these wholesale changes of sorts, to me, that seems like a possibility we've talked about for quite some time that they could potentially make a move with a Hunter Renfrow. I like Hunter Renfrow. I do. I believe that he's had a couple different 1,000-yard seasons, and he's led that team in receiving a couple different times. He was a nice value pick for that Raiders team in the old regime under Mike Mayock, but he's had some problems staying healthy as well. One idea, I was talking to our boy Jeremy Chuggs about this the other day, was the Patriots. We mentioned the history between the Patriots and the Raiders of them, kind of doing business together as of late. What if you sent Hunter Renfrow to New England to pair up with Belichick, and maybe you got a guy like Kendrick Bourne and worked out some deal of some sorts in between and gave both those guys fresh starts? I felt like Belichick has belonged in New England for a long time. It was joked about even when he was at Clemson that he was a future Belichick receiver. We'll see if they make it happen. Paul writes, where will Jarvis Landry sign in free agency? Well, Jarvis Landry is probably the best wide receiver left on the wide receiver free agent market at this point in time. And Jarvis Landry, I thought, had a really good start to his career when he began in Miami, goes to Cleveland. And then with New Orleans this past year, he missed a decent amount of time. I believe it was upwards of 6-7 games, Trace, somewhere around that range. And just never really got comfortable in that offense and never made a huge impact. Now, I think with Jarvis Landry, he's not going to cost you a whole lot of wherever he signs in this next contract. And so if you can get him to be your number 3 receiver and stay healthy, he could be as good as any number 3 receiver in the league. He hasn't forgotten how to play football. So with that, I think New England is a possibility. Any team that's looking for that number 3 receiver type, watch out. Jarvis Landry could be that guy. Dallas could be a potential fit for him. Pittsburgh could be a fit. There's a number of teams. Anyone that's looking for that number 3 receiver, maybe even Baltimore, even with all the receivers they've brought in, they've spent money at that spot. Maybe they would like him potentially a little more than Nelson Aguilar as far as that goes. So Jarvis Landry is going to play somewhere this year. If he can stay healthy, he can still have a significant impact. What team would be the best fit for Jarvis Landry? Let me know in the comment section. Give me a team that comes to mind that you think would be a good fit for Jarvis Landry of where he could end up.